Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, and I am here. I think they scared themselves. So we're at the Midwest BBQ here for the Shed Haulers event, and if you heard a little hello, that's kind of funny. There are some kids on stage that embarrassed themselves by saying hello on the microphone, I think, so and scurried off. Cliff, introduce yourself if you would, just kind of to the listeners, and let them know who you are and sort of how you're involved in the shed industry.
Okay. All right, yeah, my name is Cliff Knepp, and I'm the founder of Knepp Trucking. And, we're just haul sheds every day and do a little over-the-road stuff as well, but mainly all sheds. So.
Okay. And you're based out of southern Indiana?
That is correct, yeah,
okay.
Odin, Indiana.
Okay. Which is where we are today for the event, and this is your second barbecue here, the second event here that you're doing this for, kind of hosting the shed haulers, kind of like what you see in Montezuma and what you see in North Carolina and Texas and Oklahoma. Like, gosh, you guys got it going on. So
yeah, we're a little smaller probably than some of the Texas or anything, but we are definitely looking forward to it. Definitely was bigger this year. Second annual, and we look to keep growing, and hopefully we can get it to have quite a few guys involved here. So
very cool, and they got some good hats, guys. So if there's any leftover after the event, you'll need to hit up Cliff, and he'll sell you some hats. So
there you go.
So what's kind of the inspiration behind hosting an event like this?
The main thing for us is we just kind of want to get the shed hauler industry together. Probably the biggest thing for me we're competition out there, but we basically, this is a way of drawing everybody together and just in one, I mean, it makes it nice. Even though we're competition, it pulls us together and we can get along and everything works great. So
you have events, you have, some competitions.
That's right.
That are going on. You're feeding everybody some barbecue, it sounds like. My belly's growling over here just thinking about some barbecue.
Yeah, we have some mule competitions going on right now, and then some truck competitions as well, some precision backing. And then we also have a lot of vendors out here, and we're going to have barbecue. We're going to give away a free fishing trip.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. I saw that, on the Shed Haulers group. So if you're a shed hauler and you're not on the Facebook group, give them a holler, and you'll see some of these things whenever they post them out here, like a pretty nice fishing trip.
Yeah, it's like a $1,200 value. It's for two people, guided fishing trip in Mississippi. So, man,
that's pretty nice. Yeah, and then of course you've got tools and things that you guys are giving out for door prizes and different things. What do you take away doing this the second time now? What do you take away from doing this? What is it that feeds you whenever you do an event like this?
I don't know. I just like to see the smiles on everybody's face, and a lot of people say, we want to come back, keep doing it. So, so it's probably just the feedback we get more than anything. I mean, there's a lot of people act like they enjoy it. So, yeah,
it's, I kind of echo what you're saying there with it's, we all compete. Is anything impartial or not competing or in some way? And me and Jonathan Miller were here. We were just talking a few minutes ago, and it was like it's not about taking more market as much as it is making a bigger market. Events like these, in my opinion, help organize the shed industry as a whole, and it kind of strengthens us to the customer side, so that they see that, hey, I need to get my shed moved, and somebody gets hit by DOT or a breakdown or something that morning. Even through competition, you're friends enough to call a buddy up and say, hey, can you help me out?
That's exactly right, yeah. Yeah, I've heard of people that, in the middle of the night, they may get a call and say they're broke down beside the road, and shed hauler will call one up and go out and help him out, so.
It says a lot for the shed industry, for the customer to have the confidence in that, and it instills more confidence in the buying process through backyard sheds as opposed to something like, self-storage. Which is a big competitor for us in this market. One thing I think that's really important, I think that I was in sales. Okay. So for me, I owned a truck for a very small time. I used to do some trucking in the military, but it was nothing like what you guys are doing. So, it was really neat to like be involved in events like this, to see just how these things take place, how you guys come together on stuff like that. I watch those pages, and with me being in sales, it's not the sales guy against the hauler, right? But events like this, even if salespeople attend, they can come together with their haulers to kind of understand a little bit more the disparity between the two. I think. I don't know if you're making a call to salespeople, but personally, I think it's just what you guys do is, increasing communication.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I actually had a sales guy just come up and talk to me a minute ago, and he said, "Man, this is a great event." He said, "Pretty crazy how all these people show up, So,
well,
yeah. So,
and they can sit and have those conversations with your hauler, or different haulers, to say, well, what do you guys do in a situation like this? An up and over, or what do you do whenever I sold a shed and a hauler gets there. I bet you've been in the situation, or a hauler gets there and next thing you know, hey, this building's not going to fit. What do you do?
Have you considered adding a line of shed accessory items to your sales lot?
Introducing Shedderize. Shedderize has multiple items to organize your customer's new shed. From tool shelves to workbenches with pegboard, 3-tier shelves, cord and ladder hooks, and more.
Shedderize is seeking shed manufacturers and dealers who want to partner and make these items available for your customers.
Dealers can order items for display, then complete an order form and have the items shipped directly to the customer. You can also purchase in bulk to add to your line of sheds, or have inventory available right there at your sales lot. Installation is simple and takes just a few minutes for most items.
To know more, contact Dave Fisher at 866-548-1625 or visit Shedderize.com.
Shedderize, organization made easy.
Well, we've had a few of those. We've had 10-foot building show up and expect to go through an 8-foot gate.
Yeah.
That don't work very well.
Yeah.
But we had a few of those situations, but we had to take a few of them back to the lot. But in most cases, the sales guy will communicate with the drivers, and we can pretty much get it worked out. So before we get out there.
Yeah, and that's the key, right? Working it out with
that's right
with that salesperson to make sure that it gets done. How far do you go back in hauling? Like, kind of what's your story? How did you get into this?
Well, back in 2006, actually, summer of 2006, I got this urge to just drive truck.
Okay.
I was doing construction, and just had an urge to think I need to drive truck or want to drive truck. So anyway, I called a local mini barn shop up that I heard was looking for a hauler. And I called him up, and he actually was needing a pilot car driver at the time. So I'd done that for about a month or so, and then his full-time hauler ended up doing another job. So ended up being the full-time hauler. So story kind of started from there with one truck and went on from there. Started out with no mule. Didn't even have a mule, just had a little flatbed trailer and dovetail on it. Didn't know what a mule was back then. But anyway, then we'd jack the barn up, and we'd just back under it and slide it on with the winch, and then we'd get there, and we'd have to use handyman jacks and bars and whatever it took to get it placed.
Yeah.
But then, when I got I think it was 2008 probably, whenever I got first mule. And, it was fun going to work for a while.
Yeah, I bet that changed.
Start out with a Mule 3,
and
just one of those you got to kind of balance, in the back, and then went to Mule 4, and now we are actually subcontractors for a bigger company, and we are now up to 6 full-time trucks hauling sheds. So.
Oh wow!
And also have one over the road running flatbeds. So.
Okay, so what started as just like a desire to say, hey, I want to drive a truck. It's turned into a career.
That's exactly right, yeah.
The funniest opportunities happen on a whim sometimes. You have no idea, what it's going to turn into whenever you just take a leap of faith. Have you ever regretted this? Have you?
Well, there's days, obviously, that it'd probably be better doing something else. But no, overall, I've really enjoyed it. I've just been in the office a little more and more, and I just keep telling my wife that, it's boy, if I get out of that truck, I sure miss that truck.
No kidding. No kidding. Now, do you do anything over the road yourself?
No, I do not. No,
okay.
I just do local deliveries myself.
Okay.
So.
So you're mainly in southern, sort of southern central Indiana.
That's right, yeah.
Territory.
As far as myself.
Yeah. All right, very good. You going to keep doing these events? I mean,
we're going to try, yeah.
Okay.
As long as I get some help here, and as long as the event, if people enjoy it, we're going to try to keep doing that. So, yeah.
Man, it's great. I really appreciate what you do. We're hoping to get some of your hauler friends to sit down, and it's very important for me at Shed Geek Podcast to represent the hauling industry, the segment of the industry that is so vital, so important, and highly organized, in my opinion, just watching what you guys do. And in some ways, leading from the back. You know, really, you guys are an important part to the sales process. You're an important part to the RTO process. You're an important part to, I mean, just within your own, feeding your family and going to work.
Takes everybody to make it come together.
It really does. It really does. And you don't see too many industries that have the opportunity to sit and do something like this. Just chit-chat with your competition or really your friends is what they are.
Yeah.
I think. The reason I enjoy events like these, they're like little family reunions, getting to see everybody get together and hang out. And, of course, next week we'll be at the Expo in Virginia. So by the time this comes out, that'll be long ago.
There you go, yeah.
Looking into the future.
Yeah, I plan to be there as well, so I look forward to seeing you there.
Man, that's great. Appreciate what you guys do. We're going to try to incorporate a couple more into this episode.
Okay.
But, yeah, man, appreciate
I appreciate
everything.
also what you guys do, and really enjoy listening to your podcast, and it's great.
Very good, man. Well, it means a lot. The support means so much to me and my family. Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, Cliff. Pleasure, and I wish you nothing but success. And, hey, next year we'll try to get the word out a little early and holler at me, and I'll do my part to try and drum up as many people who might be on the fence about going.
Okay.
So,
all right. That's awesome.
All right.
We always like to see it grow, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Thanks so much,
All
Cliff.
right.
It was nice to meet you.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right.
Same to you.
Hey guys, this is the Shed Geek, and I'm here to tell you about the latest in financial innovation to hit the shed industry. It's a program called Backyard Finance. Everywhere I go, shed manufacturers and shed sellers are always asking, how can I get a better payment option for my customer? At Backyard Finance, they're making this a reality. You might be asking, how do I sign up? Simple, just go to Backyard Finance, click on the Get Started Now button, and create an account. After that, you'll have 200 plus banks competing to give your customer the best financial terms possible. With Backyard Finance, you can service your customers two ways: direct to customer lending or direct to merchant lending. With direct to merchant lending, simply fill out an application. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks to process that application, but it'll allow you a variety of financing options to make you a more competitive retailer. With FICO scores as low as 500, 600, or 700 plus, your customers will receive financing options with APRs as low as 2.99% or as high as 29.99%. Credit applications are approved in just 15 to 45 seconds. To know more, contact Backyard Finance at 833-692-2286 or email info@backyardfinance.com today. Backyard Finance, funding backyard dreams. All right, we're here in well, I guess it's Marshallville. That's where we technically are, and Georgia at the Georgia Bash. I've just known it as the Montezuma Bash. I haven't got to be here yet. Martin, introduce yourself if you don't care. Just kind of who you are and who you work for.
Martin Hostetler, used to haul sheds for Premier, but right now I'm not hauling. I'm actually hauling feed for a local feed company.
Okay.
But yeah, I did enjoy hauling sheds and enjoy the Shed Hauler world.
Been doing that for a while. Who's this guy over here? Looks like a familiar face. His hair's coming back in. Look at that. From
who has hair around this place?
Well, you two, ain't me.
Yeah, that's a true story.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's been since I had short hair, since I've been invited on here. It's a privilege to be here.
Oh, like you talking about here in Georgia? Or you talking about?
No,
on
I'm
the podcast?
talking about on the podcast.
You're welcome.
This is great.
You're welcome anytime, buddy. Just give me a holler. We'll get some conversation going.
Very good. I had no idea we were in Marshallville, Georgia, though.
No,
I did not.
Where'd
You dig some of the weirdest facts up about places.
Well, that
It's like,
was
I don't even know what Marshallville is.
This is what the address is.
I have
for
this weird deal where I I will research a city that we're going to, and I'll kind of find out who's from there and the backstory on it and the history of it. And it's weird, I guess. Like Sam said,
Well, you're just kind of weird anyway. we all knew that already.
I might be weird, but guess what? I'm weird with a tape measure because I won a door drawing today. Check that out.
Nice. Yeah, very good.
I'm telling you, hey, you guys did good. Gave away all kinds of cool stuff. Martin, what is like you're hosting this event? You're very much a part of organizing this. It's here at the church that you attend. What do these mean to you whenever you do things like this? ShedHub.com is the shed industry's very first two-sided marketplace that allows you, the shed seller, to list your inventory on a site specifically designed for selling sheds. ShedHub establishes more qualified sales leads and helps your customers find you with a simple online search. Shoppers searching where to buy sheds and sheds near me have grown by 200% in the last 2 years. This means even if the buyer wants to visit a sales lot to purchase a shed, their shed buying journey started with a simple Google search. They can actually check out and purchase the shed straight from ShedHub if they prefer to shop online. ShedHub does not charge any commission for sheds you sell. We simply charge the monthly subscription. Your sales commission is still yours to keep. Sheds listed on ShedHub will have first page search results in 91% of cities, or where to buy sheds is searched. For special pricing only available through Shed Geek, simply go to geek.shedhub.com to see the promo codes that allow you to save as much as 50% off the first 12 months of your subscription, and over 75% for companies with multiple sales locations. Sell more sheds using shedhub.com.
Well, I guess I like to do it. You know, it brings the shed haulers together. Really wish we could get more of the local guys to show up, but you meet new guys every time. I'm bad with names. I can't remember the names, but Sam's.
Well, I am too.
Sam's the guy that got me started on it.
Actually, I'm going to say your wife did. Because if I remember right, she's the one who drug you to the Tennessee Bash.
And Belvedere.
I drug her there.
Oh, you drug her there.
Me into the mule competition.
Oh, that's what it was. So you were going to show up and just kind of do like everybody else does, hide behind the scenes, see what's going on.
Yes,
and
sir.
she drug you into the mule competition.
Yes.
And after that, you were pretty much hooked.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
And since that, I've had a battle with Marlon Koblenz.
Who's winning?
He is.
So, Sam, for you, I mean, gosh, you're everywhere. Honestly, everywhere. I mean, I missed the Texas Bash, man. I hated to miss that. I called Caleb, really wanted to be there, and we had plans, me and Deanna did, for that weekend way out in advance. But, man, they were kicking around a soccer ball with some mules and just looked cool. Showing up here, had no idea what to expect. I've met some of the coolest people. That's what's cool about going to events like this, is sitting down and talking to people who've been selling sheds for 20 years, been hauling for – you guys gave away an award to a guy that's been hauling. He's 69 years old.
Yes, sir.
Guys that have been hauling sheds for 18 years. You know, there was no organization. There was no expos and magazines and podcasts back then. These are just guys that were just doing it for a living. And really all of the rest of this has been built on the back of the hard labor of all the men and women who've done that for so many years. So it feels good to be privileged to be along, to meet those folks and learn from them. And gosh, I just appreciate that you guys take the notion to put something together and do it and make it happen.
I guess one thing with going to these barbecues, you always, if you're going to be a shed hauler, you're always learning. There's always,
That's right.
Nothing is ever the same.
Do you feel like, what somebody asked me, I said, what do? You just sit and record people? I said, you know what I wish I could do? I wish I could take a microphone around and put it on every one of those tables. Because the truth is, what happens even here speaking together on the podcast doesn't capture half of what it would be if you would show up and sit at those tables and visit with those old timers and those guys that's been doing it for 18 years. That's the real podcast. If you could get that on a microphone, that's the gold. That's where people really learn. That's where they talk about people, and that's whenever you start hearing all these different things come about. Well, this is what you do here in that situation that you just can't really get recorded, but I wish I could.
Consider Summit Portable Buildings of Farmington and Poplar Bluff, Missouri for your storage needs.
Are you tired of having to leave the comfort of your property to gather your things from the storage unit where you pay never-ending rental fees? Would you like to rent something that leads to a path to ownership? Make your rent count with a Summit Portable Building.
With a Summit Portable Building, the process to own a building is simple. Our sales, manufacturing, and delivery staff are here to answer your questions, build, and deliver the shed you want the way you want it.
From the moment you step onto the sales lot, our sales staff will meet you with a smile, a friendly attitude, and a no-pressure sales approach. Our builders will cut no corners and take the time to build the shed the way you want it to be built, the old-fashioned way. Our delivery staff will ensure promptness and efficiency, using proven delivery processes that ensure a level building safe for your goods.
Summit Portable Buildings offers a variety of building styles, sizes, and colors made from the finest materials available. We also keep a variety of shed accessories available to order to help organize your shed. From the moment you step onto the lot to the moment we build and deliver your shed, you can count on Summit Portable Buildings to get the job done right.
Summit Portable Buildings.
Built the old-fashioned way.
Did you like the ad that you just watched featuring Summit Portable Buildings? That was a proud creation from the team here at the Shed Geek Podcast. If you would like high-quality videos that make your shed company stand out, contact the Shed Geek today for pricing and availability.
Yeah, I just walked in here from a story that I heard right outside the door here 5 minutes ago that you'll never hear on the Facebook page, you'll never hear on a podcast, you'll never hear it anywhere. You have to be here.
You have to be here. Yeah, that's right.
And there's so much, like I love doing Facebook Lives to show, all the guys on the page what we're doing. But that's to motivate people to show up. It's not, hey, we're going to do this because you couldn't make it. You have to be here to experience it.
Yeah.
That's why guys drive 2 days to go to a get together in Utah.
Yeah.
Because once you go and you experience, that's what happened to Martin. He went and experienced it, and he's like, I want to take that back home. Cliff Knepp was here today, does the Midwest BBQ in Indiana. And it's exact same thing. They went to him and his drivers went to the Pennsylvania Bash. And on the way home, they stopped to have lunch, and they're like, we have got to do something like that at home. And they started doing it. And then, they're like, hey, let's go down and let's support Georgia doing theirs.
Yeah.
And Vargas, Marvin comes in all the way from Texas. Caleb showed up here a couple times already. It's all part of the community that is behind what we do. And if I can say this without sounding like a prepper, we're going to need community more than we ever have.
Oh, that's good, man. That's a good word.
And the community, everybody's like, oh, Sam, he gets to go everywhere. Sam gets to be, do this and do that. The fact is, I'm just blessed enough to have relationships with people that are scattered all over, and to be able to be a part of that, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It doesn't come without sacrifice, though, does it,
No,
Sam?
it doesn't.
I see you. I see Richard Miller at these things just about everywhere I go. That doesn't come without sacrifice. You guys are actually putting in the work to help build that community. I always said the haulers lead the pack as far as I'm concerned in terms of camaraderie, the way that you guys build together. I've been munching at the bit to do something in sales, and you know how hard that's going to be to get a bunch of sales guys together.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But, we'll try to learn from what you guys have done and the organization you've put together, because y'all seem to be just killing it in terms of communication.
Do lots of giveaways.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We love the giveaways.
You mentioned Vargas, and he showed up here and cleaned up.
Yeah. It was funny because he was supposed to fly in.
Yeah.
And his flight got canceled. So he just decides him and his wife and a couple of the kids, we're just going to drive. And
he got here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and I was, I was giving him a hard time because I was like, Lord knew if you were going to win all that stuff, you'd never get it on a plane.
Yeah.
But it's who decides? Preston Carnegie did the same thing. 12:30 this morning.
Yeah.
He finally makes a decision. I'm going to go. I'm going to go, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I know it's frustrating to Martin when you have people that live 10 minutes away, that don't see the value in that. But it's the fact that they haven't been there, they haven't seen it, they don't understand everything that happens there. So we use every kind of stage broadcasting system we can, like this, to get people to understand that.
Yeah, the first time I went I was going to be in Belvedere, but when I went to Pennsylvania and did a live, I was absolutely blown away at the camaraderie, the fellowship. I don't know. I'm sort of like you, Sam. I think it's amazing that people would come together and do this. And, it's their loss if they're 10 minutes away and they don't show up.
Oh, yeah.
It's their loss. I mean, not just the giveaways, but the sense of community. The giveaways are just a perk, right, that you get added on, and you can take some cool stuff home. But you cannot put a price on community. You cannot put a price on the togetherness and the learning. And competition is not it's not always a real thing. Lord didn't put us here to hate each other, and you know what I mean. Like, we're supposed to be working together in some way, and I guess everybody's trying to figure that out. So
that's true.
I feel Sam and Jason Kaufman have really worked hard at getting the haulers
for sure
on the same page.
For sure. You talking about Chasen or Jason?
Jason, not Chasen.
Not Chasen. No. I don't know about that guy.
So did y'all see that Jason flipped his mule the other day?
I did see that.
So I told him, I said, where was Chasen?
Because
Chasen is supposed to be the donkey.
That's right.
Jockey. And I kind of caught him off guard a little bit, and he's like, yep, I probably should have let a Chasen do that one, but he figured maybe he should handle it, and we see where that went. That didn't work so good.
I feel like we need to do a salute to Chasen. Sam, you got your best Chasen impression? Martin, you think you can do a good one? He said, no, I ain't going to do it.
No, I can't.
Shout out to Chasen.
Well, he's got such a great attitude, and I felt really cool to get a video from Atlee Stewart's kids. I don't know if you saw it. They posted on the Shed Haulers page, and he had sent me one of his boys there, and one had on the geek glasses, and one did the woo, and the other one's doing the Chasen.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
When that stuff right there supersedes anything you can do.
Sure.
There's nothing that you can do in business that makes you feel as happy as seeing the joy on those little dudes' faces.
Sure.
I mean, that right there, I think, is what it's supposed to be about. And it's really supposed to be a form of ministry when it's all boiled down to it. And I really think that's what you get when you come to events like this. We won't keep this long. I'm probably going to patch this in with another episode. Martin, thank you for just allowing me to be here. Sam, thank you, and for everything that you do, man. Yep. Continuing to lead the industry, and I just appreciate being y'all's friend. So,
yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you taking time and coming and being here.
Well, it's great. It's great, not just for the interview purpose, but for really getting to sit and talk with people and build community as well. So,
very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. And here at the Georgia barbecue, here for the Shed Haulers. What a cool event today, and got to meet some cool people. Always love to get a chance to represent the haulers, and that's what we've got on the show today. You guys care to introduce yourself and who you work for?
Yeah, I'm Stephen Polkinghorn, and I haul for Yoder Portable. And this is my son Travis, and his mom is trying to unlock the shed hauling truck that she locked up a little while ago. So
you guys are just 100 mile an hour all the time, aren't you?
Yep, this one, yep.
And then who else we got here?
I'm Andre Nussbaum. I also haul for Yoder Portable out of Montezuma, Georgia.
All right.
Been with them for about 8 years now. So.
Okay, and you guys are brother-in-law, right?
Brother-in-law, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So family and working for the same company there. Andre, how'd you get started, man? Like, what kind of got you into shed hauling?
So I worked as an electrical contractor with my dad. He had his own business. Kind of got tired of being on call nights and weekends and all that. And I had a pretty good buddy that had been hauling sheds for a while and was always talking about how much he enjoyed it. It was a good job. So I kind of hinted around to him. I was like, well, hey, if you ever have something come up that you hear of, let me know. And a couple months later, he called me, and he had an opportunity with another company hauling sheds and kind of asked if I'd be interested. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a try, see how it goes. So I rode with him for about 2 days, and he left to go on vacation. And I was supposed to go back to doing electrical work and stuff. Well, my boss called me and he said, hey, we really got a barn that needs to go. Could you haul it? And I said, sure. So I showed up, and they had a 16 by 32 going to downtown Atlanta, and I was like, whoa, all right. So I got that one done, and I guess they liked what I did, so they made me an offer, and I've been with them ever since. So.
I got you. So you've been hauling for that time, and you said, I'm going to bring my brother-in-law into this, right?
Yeah.
So
He, I guess my sister wanted to move back close to the family, and he was asking about jobs around here, and we actually had one of our other drivers that just quit. So I said, well, if you're interested, I can probably get you in with us. So he came and tried it out, and apparently he liked it good enough to stay.
So how long you been at it, Steve?
About 8 months.
Okay.
And what happened was I was a cop in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there's a lot more to unpack with that. But basically, that job's not worth doing out there, and they're under the DOJ, and you basically can't do your job without going to prison for doing the right thing.
Oh, no.
So I wasn't gonna just sit around and do nothing and kind of be lazy, like unfortunately a lot of the cops are forced to be nowadays. So I came and worked for Jasper County because it was they treated you better. I have a friend that works for them, went to college with, and they treat you a lot better, but and the work conditions are great, but they don't pay you enough to support a family. So
yeah,
I got to talking a little bit to the other deputies up there and was saying, there's a possibility in the next few months down the road, maybe a year down the road, I might have to find something else to do. And I had talked to Andre a while ago about shed hauling, and one of the captains up there heard about that, and he just heard rumors and called me in his office and was like, I heard you're leaving next week. I said, no. It's not accurate in any way, but I said, like I said, in maybe a year or so would be the earliest, and I'll let you know plenty of time. He was like, you pack your stuff up and turn it in now.
There you go.
So he wasn't very happy with anybody even considering leaving, so he's kind of crazy, but anyway, man, I started hauling a lot sooner than I thought, but it's different work. I wouldn't say it's like physically, obviously it's a lot harder, but and probably even hours wise, because you just you end up working longer hours even than I did in law enforcement. So
what's been the biggest surprise for you, like in those 8 months?
I guess just how big the shed hauling industry is. Like I had a vague idea of what Andre did.
Sure.
I've known him for a few years, but I had no idea that it was
a whole event.
Shed
you know what I
hauling
mean? Like you've got a barbecue here and a bash every 18
all over
months
the country, and there's thousands and thousands of people.
Well, I mean, all these rigs. I mean, just the cost of, like, a lot of people don't maybe consider the cost of what it is getting into a rig, whether you're driving for a company or driving for yourself, and that it can be kind of alarming. I mean, just from figuring out all the details of permitting, and keeping your truck legal and insurance and then equipment.
Driving logs and
you got
hours and
absolutely. So do you run a semi? You run a pickup?
I run a Dodge 3500.
Okay.
Which is what this kind of the standard what we had with the company until Andre just got into his semi a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So we just got.
I heard you saying that. Yeah. So you enjoying that so far?
So far.
Okay.
There's the ride and the quietness of a pickup is nice, and I kind of miss that. But as far as the work we're trying to do with these trucks.
Yeah.
The semi is a lot nicer.
Yeah. No, I get it. I guess that's
obviously. I haven't been in it too long, so we still got some odds and ends we're trying to get straightened out on it.
Sure.
See what's got a little bit of a vibration, do some alignment work on it and stuff. But yeah, once everything's set up, yeah, definitely. I'm hopefully, if I can get him on board to go get a CDLs, we'll move everything over to semis in the next couple of years.
Well, I heard him joking around. Sam was joking around. You won a mule competition here today, so he said that's what's got you being a better mule toter there, right? Because you're on a semi. You don't got that easy stretch to back in now, huh?
That's been the biggest thing is I've had to kind of get out of trying to use the truck and trailer as much and just use the mule. So we got them for a reason. So
which is interesting because I actually, most of the time I drop the building on the road and pull it in. Like I don't mind pulling a building really far with the mule because of the amount of times, like with rain and stuff, I'm like, okay, yes, I could probably get it back there skill-wise and backing-wise, but that's going to take almost as much time as just dropping it right here in the nice and flat, because I block traffic enough times. I do not care about people in traffic. Like, they can sit there on the road and wait. They can find another way around. I don't care. Yeah.
No.
Probably not the right attitude, but
well, it's certainly an art, in some ways learning. I mean, you're trying to perfect your craft in everything you're doing, selling, hauling, building. It really doesn't matter. You're trying to get better as you go. Andre, what do you feel like? You just said shed hauling's what I want to do.
Yeah. So I love fishing. I do a lot of bass fishing.
Okay.
And with this job, my company treats me good. They pretty much let me set my own schedule. So weekends that I have tournaments and stuff, they're super great about letting me take off an extra 2 days to go figure out where the fish are and all that. And I'm single, living by myself, so I don't have to, as long as I got enough food to put on the table and gas money to get to the boat ramp.
The life of a bachelor, man.
I'm ready to go. So I love the work. I like, at first, probably with everybody at first, it's like I just want all easy sets. And, to me now the fun part is getting to something a little different, thinking outside the box. Something that I haven't done before that just try something new. Going up and over fences or. Have you
done a couple of those?
I've done a few of them. Haven't with the semi yet. That's coming. That's the biggest thing for me is I'm kind of a loner, so I like to just turn on the radio station I'm listening to or whatever. Maybe not even have the radio on, just driving down the road, thinking about everything going on in life, getting where I'm going.
And nothing at the same time.
Right. And then the flexibility of schedule, just to be able to go on vacation when I want. And, getting to go bass fishing a couple times a month at tournaments is hard to beat.
Sales is a very passionate part for me. It's really important to connect the dots to where sales meets with a hauler. I'm sure there's been more than once already that your salesman's had way more faith in you than
a few times
than what you thought you was going to be able to do yourself. And to get the sale, that's like, oh yeah, my hauler, he can do it. He can take care of it.
Yeah. I've been pretty fortunate. All of my salesmen, they've had a few over expectations a few times, but most times they treat me pretty good too. So
it's the travel of communication from the salesperson to the hauler and from the builder. All of that is a perfect triangle. It has to fit perfect to make a good customer experience. We always say shed haulers are the last people to touch the customer. You're the last impression that you leave on a customer. You guys feel like it's easy to leave that. You said you guys haul for Yoders.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Yoders appreciates that you guys would leave like a lasting impression with the customer that makes them feel good about, what building they're buying. Give me an example of a good experience you guys have had while you've hauled with a customer.
Yeah, I wish my memory was better. I guess on the spot, I think of it, but if, on a podcast, I'm not going to remember. But most recently, I had a guy with the classic. he bought a 10-foot building, so he has a 10-foot 1-inch fence.
Yeah.
And that's what's going through, right? Well, trim, and it's not actually 10.1 feet, and the gate handles are sticking out. So he was 86, and I think there's kind of a trade-off, because you want to leave a good impression. You want to make sure that the customer had a good experience and get what they paid for, and maybe just a little bit extra. But like, there is a line you draw. You can't do 4 hours of work for free just to make that good. So, and the thing is, if you're just honest with people and explain to them what the situation is, like, okay, we brought this building out here. Your fence isn't big enough. I can take your fence down and I can put it back up, and this is the price.
Yeah.
And so I told him that, and he wasn't expecting it, but he was fine with it. And he was like, okay, thanks for telling me. He said yes. I took his fence down, and then I got the building through. And I think it's just like, you need to be good at looking like you care.
Yeah.
Like, even your facial expressions matter, because like, he was like, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you have to go through this trouble. I said, hey, no, you're paying me to get your fence down, so no problem. Like, I'm happy about it, right? And then, anyway, long story, he tipped me on top of it. Like,
nice.
So I charged him $100 to take the fence down, and I put it back up. And then on top of that, he was trying to tip me, and I tried to decline it, but he was just, if you make the right impression, as long as you're honest with people, you can get paid for the work that you need to get paid for, and then leave that good impression. You might even get a tip.
Leon Martin, he's been on the show, and he was talking about customer service, and he said, everything you do before the sale is to get the sale, but everything that you offer after, is you've already got the sale. Mm-hmm. I mean, matter of fact, you've already got the sale of taking the fence down.
Yeah.
It's just how you do it, and then, the attitude that you take, and that's what ensures the tip, right? Or maybe not ensures it, but what gains it for you. I'm sure you've had some bad experiences too in shed hauling.
I'll let him go next.
Obviously, I probably have a few more stories than him.
Yeah, you've been at it a little bit longer. And what's one of your most memorable moments in shed hauling?
Good memory or bad memory?
Go with what's on your mind.
So probably the biggest lesson I learned about a year and a half I'd been hauling, and we had a customer order 2 12x40s that he was going to turn into living quarters. He was going to basically set them side by side with about a 15-foot gap in the middle, and then put like a covered porch in the middle. And so he wanted everything laser leveled and all that. And we got the first building set, and we're setting the second one, and obviously he saw it was a little bit of a trick to get it all exactly lined up and everything. So he was doing what he could to help. And the mule I had at the time was one of the old cable drive math things, and for some reason, occasionally the cable would come out of the wheel on the roller. I don't know why it chose that day to do it, but it did. And I always use a screwdriver to get everything lined back up and everything. This customer, before I had time to tell him, don't do that, just let me deal with it or whatever. No. He was just trying to help. He went over and grabbed a hold of the cable and jerked on it, and the mast fell down, and it cut his finger off.
Oh, my goodness.
Right at the first joint of his index finger.
Whoa.
And I was, of course, thinking, I'm fired. The company's going to get sued, all this. Well, he grabbed his finger, and he just looked at me. He said, you think you can set the rest of this up by yourself? Because I need to go to the hospital. I said, yes, sir. You go do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And I called him later that afternoon after I got the barn set up and everything. He said, yeah, they sewed my finger back on. They said everything's good to go on it. He said, buildings look good when I got home, so appreciate y'all bringing them out and stuff. And ever since then, I've just been very careful about making sure, if they want to help carry blocks over there, but anytime I've got the building up in the air, anything with the equipment, I've had guys tell me they're shed hauler, they used to haul sheds, and I'm like, look, nothing against you, just for our sake, no, I need to be the one running everything. So
what a good example of safety.
That was the biggest thing, was just the simplest thing is customers trying to help you can that fast turn into a potential major situation that just gets everybody in a lot of trouble.
They say no good deed goes unpunished, right?
Right, yeah.
Man, what a memorable moment for sure.
I think
shed
that's
hauling.
when I'm hauling, and because since I've been hauling for that long, and like I have had, the first year you're hauling, you're gonna have more things go wrong than the later years, and whenever I'm like, everything's good now, like the truck seems to be running fine, nothing's going wrong, that's when I'm like
Nervous.
something's broke,
Waiting for the other
truck's
foot
about
to
to
drop.
catch on fire, like something crazy.
What kind of equipment are you guys running? You both run mules?
Yeah.
Semi and
I've got a semi with a mule 4 and a extendable WKM roller trailer.
Okay.
30 to 40 foot extendable trailer.
And then I've got the
pretty basic. It's got the extensions and then the tail shift, but no sideways wheels, nothing like that.
I got you.
And then I'm running the Dodge 3500 with Mule 4. We got a new mast on there that has the, what do you call those bars? The arms on it that are canted down?
The angled arms.
Angled arms, yeah.
It's we basically upgraded an old Mule 4 to a Mule 4 HD.
Gotcha.
And just a 30-foot
King Road.
King Road. I always want to say King Trailer, but King Road with just tail shift and just hydraulic lift in the front. Yeah, so. I don't know all the terms. I just use the equipment and break it.
He's
just use it and break it up.
Yeah. So the way I break equipment is using it for its intended purpose with care. If I use it for what it's not supposed to be used for, and I don't care, it's fine.
I bet there's a lot of haulers could identify with that. Guarantee it. Yeah. No, that's good. Man, guys, I appreciate you guys sitting down with me. I think it's awesome. We got to hang out here with everybody in Georgia. Cool stuff today, the giveaways. What do these events mean to you guys when you get to go and do stuff like this?
I've always been a competitor, so I like the competitions. I've been coming, I think this is our 4th year. I've been here every year. Every year I've gotten second place on the mule delivery, and one of these days I'm going to win first. It's just
there you go.
Yet. But
when you get a Mule 5.
Yeah, once I get a newer mule, we'll see. But to me, it's just meeting everybody, talking to them. I like looking at all the setups, getting ideas for things I might want to change on mine.
Sure.
Obviously, watching everybody else do the competitions, you learn tricks and stuff. That's the thing. I mean, 8 years into this, and it still seems like I learn something new.
Yeah.
Every time I go out and set up a shed. So just stuff like this helps kind of compact that, get you up to speed on the new options that Cardinal has with the mules.
And my truck finally got cleaned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annual detail on the trucks.
Shout out to Cardinal, man, for always being here and sponsoring events like these. And I keep talking to Steve, and we're going to get him on here one day.
There you go.
And tell Cardinal's story and just kind of, I think people appreciate those things, and certainly appreciate his willingness at some point to. I'm trying to pigeonhole him into doing that, and every time I catch him, he's busy. I said I'm going to make time on my schedule to make it happen. So
for me, it's actually really unexpected, because when I got into law enforcement, which I still do part-time, I always kind of thought that there'd be like cop parties and, like the classic fireman and cop like baseball game, or like, they have actual where there's a lot of people, or but what's crazy, like there was never an organized, a couple times there'd be a few people come over, but an actual like police officer lunch or whatever. I mean, maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, but with like the depressed anti-cop sentiment around.
I mean, obviously what they've, what's been happening in society with like
and
slowing
reasons,
the speed of police.
But, there's so few cops, and there's just not enough people or time. Like, anybody who would be at the party is on the road working or sleeping.
Right.
So, but it's weird because, like, something I never even thought about, like shed hauling, and then on top of that, there's shed hauler picnics and barbecues and bashes, and like, whoa, that's a shed hauler thing. I never thought about that. But
I mean, the trade shows, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of get-togethers. We're trying to create something for shed sales just to kind of, I don't want to say piggyback off of what the haulers have done, but they've done a great job in organizing, and it's fun and a little easier when you got the bells and whistles and the mules and competitions. I kind of lived in the sales area, so I got to try to find a way to make something valuable for those guys to get together and hang out.
and not strangle each other.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate what you guys do. Certainly appreciated some of the haulers through the years that whenever I was selling sheds, you know, I think about Jeff and oh gosh, I just lost Jeff's last name. How bad is that? I hadn't talked to him in so long. Well, I mean, like Jeremy Gaither was a hauler at one point that we called on, and he's been on the show with Secure Storage. Jeff Sage, I still talk to him every now and then. Such a cool guy. I probably could go on and on and on. Joel Gaither has done some delivery from some sheds I sold. Man, those guys were always top notch. Just, you know, and it means a lot when you're in sales if you've actually got a hauler that you can work with closely, and you're just part of that triangle, that trifecta of taking care of the customer. When it's all said and done. I know you guys work hard, way harder than I do, and I appreciate you for it. And man, I'll tell you what, I hope you make a good living because of it.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's been good so far.
There you go. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. And we're here in the Midwest BBQ. My headphones are going in and out on me almost. We are here at the Midwest BBQ in Odin, Indiana, and I've got with me today a shed builder, Marvin. Do you want to introduce who you are and sort of your company?
Sure. So my name is Marvin Raber, and the company I own is Raber Portable Storage Barns here in Montgomery, Indiana. And I want to thank Shannon for giving me the opportunity to have a discussion with him.
Well, I thank you for sitting down with me and just kind of talking sheds is really all we're doing. The same thing that we do when we're out in the kicking gravel around out there watching competitions, I guess. Tell me a little bit about your story, Marvin. How'd you come to know the shed industry? Did you just wake up one day and say, I want to build sheds the rest of my life?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. Years ago when I was a kid, my dad built storage sheds. He built the old Blue Barn dog food sheds. It was basically a small shed for a dog food company that they gave to their dealers to sell dog food out of. And at that time, like all kids, I hated storage sheds. But it's funny how time goes on, and now I'm building sheds. I started building sheds full time in 2001, so I've been doing it for quite a while. Currently, we have 10 guys in the shop and 3 delivery guys.
So yeah, you're based out of Southern Indiana.
That's correct. We serve Southern or Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois as our base states.
Very good. So you grew up in second generation shed builder then.
Well, so he never really took on after he built the dog food or the dog food barns. He never really took off and got into shed business. He sells for metal for Davis County Metal Sales, which is a lumber metal distributor here in the county. Okay. So he's not really involved other than just support with the shed business today.
Okay. But you saw him building them and you built them. I think you was telling me a little bit about you were building them all the time on your free time.
There was no free time.
All of it was spent building sheds.
When I worked for him, of course, there was no nailers back in those days, nailers and power tools. He paid me $1 to nail the floors by hand. Okay. So, yeah, that was my salary back in the day.
That'll go a long way with guys who are framing now, right? $1 an hour.
yeah, exactly. And if I made too many dents in the plywood, he let me know it.
I'm sure.
Couldn't have that bad workmanship.
Yeah. No, it's so. When would this have been? Around what year you figure?
Probably late 80s.
Okay. Yeah. And then you found yourself back into shed building some years later. Did you do something in between those times?
Yeah, I worked construction.
Okay.
Had some house framing and stuff like that.
Okay.
For another company, and then I just kind of took the leap and decided we were going to build sheds. And I still remember when I sold the first shed, it was a guy in Indianapolis. It was a state cop, and I didn't know nothing about selling sheds or I don't know how to build them, but I didn't know how to sell.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I do today, but we sell a few here and there.
Good comment. Good comment. So then you did take that leap of faith. Amazing what you do when you take a leap of faith, and God blesses that, and and set you on a path or whatever. But you jumped into building sheds. So you've been at it for well over 20 years now. Mm-hmm. What's changed over 20 years for you?
Everything. I mean, when we started, take for example the shed trailers, the mules, none of that. When we first started, we had a guy that had a gooseneck trailer, and he had like a dovetail, so we had tracks, and we basically had to back up to the shed, raise the shed up with handyman jacks, back up underneath of it, and then winch it on. Yeah. And to get it in place in the backyard was a challenge. I mean, I was along several times, to deliver sheds, and today that's probably the biggest change is the delivery, and then also the technology that's kind of involved today with all the online stuff. So.
Yeah, with it's selling and different things. Yeah, for sure. You guys were moving the sheds back then. What would you guys say today is the number one thing that's changed your business?
Oh,
sorry, I'm thinking, and I'm trying to remember that some of the conversation we had out, and I want to make sure to ask you questions.
Is your question what's the biggest thing that's changed? Are you talking about me or the company, or
for you? Like, I think about what was pricing back then, for instance.
Well,
in early 2001, whenever you started.
Well, back in the day when we first started, our popper size were probably like a 12 by 16, 12 by 20.
Okay.
I can still remember selling those for $1,900.
Okay.
Today, $5,600.
Yeah.
So big change. Of course, you got to realize when you're building yourself versus having employees, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. A lot of overhead and just the way it all changes. So what you said you have 3 trucks now. Mm-hmm. You've got 3 mules on there. What do you run on those? Do you run like mule 4s, 5s?
We have 2 mule 4s, and then we have 1 mule 6, and we got another one coming in January actually. Another mule. We're going to trade we're going to put one of our 4s on our lot just to move sheds around the way. We have 2 track machines, and then 1 mule 4.
I know what I was going to ask you now. Whenever my brain went foggy and I had a senior moment there, did you ever lose sales because you couldn't get a shed into a yard that you had sold?
Probably. I have a good memory, but it's not very long.
Yeah. I get that. I understand that more than you know. Where do you think it is now? Like, what's the current state of the industry? What do you see?
Well, I see things coming back a little more normal this year. Like we've had a really good year, really busy, but not like COVID. I do think everybody keeps saying that we've got higher dollar average, higher end sheds. I kind of see us going the other way a little bit, honestly. I mean, I think that as the economy goes down, we're going to have to adapt and maybe get a less expensive shed. I'm not saying like really, really cheap, but I think that as money tightens up, and I think that's the direction we're heading, that I kind of feel like that's going to be the kind of key.
Do you think that's due to just like the economy in general?
I do.
We're starting to see that. I don't know. Some people say we're in a recession already, and others say we're going down that road.
Exactly. Yeah. However, with that being said, in 2008, when we had the recession, the barn business boomed. So, who knows? I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I do think that we're heading for a little bit of a slowdown.
Yeah.
Because of the industry.
Where's it going? Where do you think the shed industry looks like? You joined it 20 years ago. What do you think it's going to look like in 20 years?
Probably more people will be more confident to buy online. Probably less demand for your brick and mortar shed lots would be my guess. There are certain people that today still not comfortable without looking at the shed, but I think as this next generation that all they do is online, I think that's where we're heading.
Yeah.
You probably won't have to have a sales lot at some point. You do everything online, you ship them out.
It's hard to say, isn't it? It almost seems like at some point there's definitely a shift. I shop online, but I still shop brick and mortar too. And I think we're just sort of in that in between.
I do too, yeah.
So
we're kind of in that older generation where you take the next 20 years, you think the teenagers today will be in their 30s and 40s. I think that they'll be more confident, make bigger purchases online.
Yeah, my kids have grown up with a phone in their hand. That's normal. Like my son's going into computer technology, computer science. I mean, he wants to just from a whole gambit, from web development to graphic design to just about everything that you can think of. Take one apart and put it together, and he can pretty well do that now. He already knows more than I do, which isn't saying much. Although I have actually been building out some of my own website through some good training through some of the people that I've gotten to know in the industry, and I'm finding that I really do enjoy it whenever it's something that's engaging to me. Well, this is something my son and my daughter grew up on. It doesn't even have to be engaging. It's almost kind of like just matter of fact. It's
ingrained into them.
Yeah. Especially with schooling, their schooling's doing the same thing. They're teaching in this way, so it's a very interesting thought. You think RTO will be around in 20 years? You think that's always going to be a part of the shed industry?
Probably, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Those two kind of overlap from time to time between RTO and online sales. And then, of course, the equipment. Are you doing anything, since you're a builder, I'd almost like to dive into whatever you would share. What do you do, or what are your thoughts on like automation in the building process? We talk about computer technology with selling, but what do you see with like the automation of automated shed lots that are, you bring a building in and there's maybe not a computer doing the entire thing, but taking some of the workload off of the laborers?
Well, I think for sure that area is probably behind with technology or with automation, other than on the selling and RTO part side of things. So for sure some, but there's only so much automation you can do. You still have to have people actually doing the work. But just for an example, I mean, one of the things that we've done is we put the truss press in. Years ago we used to just stomp them by hand, and now we've got the golden rule machine, and that really has helped. So certainly there's areas that could be improved, and there's new products coming out almost daily with improvements.
You've probably seen some of this in the framing and the roofing, the Joey lift. I don't know if you're familiar with that, if you've seen that. I mean, that's a cool little machine that's offering basically a way for a roofer to save his legs from hopping up and down off the ladder all day. Those are cool things.
We have our own Joey lift. We use carts with wheels.
Okay.
And they wheel those around. I'm not sure about the OSHA. I'm not sure how they would like those, but they work. We've got
a friend here on the Shed Geek podcast. I wish I could get him on video. He's got his roller, and he's rolled right up to the cameras. And my wife's holding them. She's like, "Oh no!" But he's busy. He just. Well, I wish he'd come over here. I'd almost lift him up and get him on here, and he could say hello. That's funny. This is what I love about events like this. It's like family. Did you come last year?
I did not. I had appointments last year, so I didn't make it. But I was excited to be here this year. Yeah.
No, I didn't get a chance to last year too. It was, but I'm glad I did. A really nice turnout.
It is a nice turnout. A lot of nice shed rigs. It's amazing what all those guys.
Yeah.
Equipment, and I had one of my guys actually. They had the bike up contest, and I think one of my guys actually won. He got within 13/16 of an inch to hitting that pole.
Nice. That's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. Oh, that's great. We were talking about manufacturing, and so the little guy distracted me. What are some of the things outside of adding truss presses that you do? What's the daily life of a shed manufacturer look like? You're an owner. What are the responsibilities that you think of in terms of manufacturing? Like, are you doing research and development on new products? Are you, for the customer, a lot of times every shed looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
For us inside of the shed industry, we understand.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you feel like you're doing, or what are processes that you can expand on that you see as valuable for other builders?
Well, so the biggest thing of what I do is pretty much what Shannon just shared, is research, development, train my people, empower my people to make their own decisions. I'm like, we have a shop foreman, we have a office lady who's in charge of the office. So I'm just there just to help where needed. And yeah, I think if you look, I told one of the guys the other day, my biggest game changer for us as a company, and one thing that I would encourage everybody to do, is really simple. Sometimes you have to say no. That's probably been the biggest changer for us. Is it doesn't seem like much, but it can be difficult. Just say no to certain things, processes, ideas, customers. You got to learn how to say no.
Yeah. What's been your biggest change with the customer over 20 years?
Used to be they would price shop a lot more. Today, you don't get a lot of price shopping. If you do we rarely get beat by pricing, and we're not the cheapest company in town.
Mm-hmm.
But you can add value. And people know with the research they've done. Like I've never really done research, but 8 out of 10 people that buy a shed from us have probably visited us online. They've done their research. They've done their homework. They've looked at our reviews. So it's easier to upsell a shed in 2022 than it was back in 2010. I can tell you.
Yeah. No, that's all great advice. Assuming that a customer came on here and wanted to find out more about your sheds, where would you send them to?
First step is I would send them to our website, which is raberstoragebarns.com. We have the idea room designer, and a lot of our clients really love that feature. They go in there, they can look at the shed, spin it around, and do anything.
To be able to use a 3D designer to build out their shed, that's something that we're seeing. Like I went to Menards not too long ago, and we were looking at getting some bathroom work redone, and they sat down with us and started designing out our space.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming a very real thing in so many areas of construction. Yeah, to be able to do that. Well, that's cool, man. I'm certainly happy for you. It sounds like you've had lots of success over the years. I enjoy talking to you and getting a chance to meet people whenever I'm out here at events like this. I think it's imperative for people to come to events like this, especially whenever they're local to you. It just builds camaraderie. I mean, and if you're a hauler, there's some very cool takeaways here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You hoping to take something away today?
Oh, yeah. I'm always looking for ideas for free stuff.
yeah, let's see what you can get for showing up, right?
Well,
Door prizes. And
we've been really successful, but it's always has ups and downs. But, yeah, the last 2-3 years have been really good for us. Lord has really been good to us, and we've really been blessed, and certainly blessed to be part of such a wonderful industry.
Well, it's we talk about it being a very faith-filled industry, and I think that you do see that as a whole.
Absolutely.
Very, very important. Marvin, I certainly appreciate you sitting down with me. And if somebody wants to find a shed, they need to go to your website.
Absolutely.
Check it out. If you just want to look around, if you're someone inside of the shed industry and you just want to check it out, I'm sure that 20 years of experience can go a long way in terms of helping this rising tide lift all boats, just helping us make a bigger market out here.
If any of the shed builders out there, if they're ever in Southern Indiana, feel free to stop in and give them a tour, and always love to see new friendly folks.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope you win that fishing trip.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Marvin.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.